It's a flurry of fingers picking out a tune and a thumb playing steady backup. This is thumb picking, as interpreted by Joe Hudson.
It's a form of music where you keep an alternating bass and rhythm pattern with your thumb while you're doing the melody with your fingers.
He's executive director of the National Thumb Pickers Hall of Fame, based here in Muhlenberg County, where the style was born.
Originated with parlor music, where ladies were doing a little different style, but they were basically playing some form of an accompanying line along with their melody, so they would sound fuller and it would be more entertaining for people.
We'd say so, because if you close your eyes while Joe is playing, it sounds more like 3 guitars than 1.
There have been people who have heard this style recorded, and when you tell them that's only one person with 1 guitar, they have to see it to believe it. It is a lot of work. You basically have to retrain your thumb to work completely separately from your other fingers. I started trying to learn how to thumb pick about 5 years ago, and of course growing up here in Muhlenberg County, it was around me all my life, and unfortunately it's like a lot of things that I think we take for granted. You really don't recognize how special it is until you get a little bit older and you take a little bit of time to sit back and look and see what's around you. Growing up, I started playing guitar when I was 13. And I always loved it. My dad had a '74 model Fender Telecaster, and he had told me, he says, you know, I had this guitar wheeled to you, but I'd really like to see you play some thumb style on it. So I learned the thumb style, and from that point what it was to me was more of the challenge, more of the taking my music to another level, and really the sense of overall enjoyment that I get from playing this style.
18 degrees and 72 degrees.
That is right. Oh my goodness.
Subprime.
Subprime is correct.
Mount Everest.
Mount Everest is correct for 10.
16 teams.
Red River.
Red River is right.
12.
12 is correct.
Some of the brightest high school students in the tri-state.
Ohio.
Peter and the Wolf.
Peter and the Wolf is correct.
The competition is fast,
Wisconsin.
Ellipsis.
Third right. Anti-papacy.
with every correct answer putting the teams 1 match closer to the final victory.
Gold medal.
Gold medals is correct.
Blue.
Chicago.
Who will emerge the winner?
That is correct. That is correct.
Correct. Very good.
The Knights of Castle or the Mustangs of Muhlenberg County?
Down to the Super 6. Fab 5. Final 4. And then there were 3. And we are now down to 2. And one of those 2, the Muhlenberg County Mustangs. Good deal. Wow. And they travel well, too. They really do. Let's hear it for the Castle Knights for that late run right there. That was
Even on a cold, windy Tuesday, business is still sizzling at yesterday's drive-in on Oak Street in Carmine. Besides the novelty items and colorful t-shirts, the drive-in really hasn't changed.
This restaurant opened in March of 1957. So in 55 years, it's never been shut down, it's never been closed.
Rare that in an age of multiplying fast food chains and microwave dinners, the lights have never gone out on a tiny diner that seats just 13 people.
You don't see many businesses that have survived for 55 years without, just being out of business, shut down for a while, reopened, shut down for a while. This has gone on uninterrupted.
Owner and Carmi native Gary Kingery sat at this same counter on the same bar stool when he was just a kid. That was back when the restaurant was an A&W root beer stand, then a regional drive-in chain a few years later.
This is when it was a Rebens drive-in. As you can see, marquee, everything is still the same.
It looks the same, pretty much. In 1969, when this picture was taken, a burger only cost you 15 cents, and the menu was a bit smaller too.
It was basically, hamburger, cheeseburger, hot dog, the old-fashioned shakes, which we still do.
Gary and his wife Anita, now busy behind the counter, have been cooking up those drive-in classics since 1990, when they convinced the owner to sell them the business. Why are you so persistent? Why did you want to buy it?
Well, because it had been a long-established restaurant, and there was no barbecue at all in Carmi. And I knew that I could develop this phenomenal barbecue.
So naturally, they beefed up the selection.
We added our barbecue, we added E-rolls, we added grilled, we added several items to the menu. And we continue to do that. We continue to expand our menu because, to me, that's the lifeblood of the business.
Gary says customers welcome the variety, but still nothing beats an old-fashioned cheeseburger. No fancy recipe here. Turns out the best secret ingredient is actually the grill.
Because it's 55 years old, it is so seasoned, you can cook a burger on that grill and cook a burger on another grill right beside it. Won't taste anything at all like it's the same burger. We're 2 blocks from the high school here. You can't imagine the number of kids that come back after having graduated. They will come back, they will bring their families. They will buy our cheeseburgers by the dozen.
As much as I want a taste of this Carmi staple, I'm opting for the owner's favorite instead. It's not just the locals coming in for a bite of that barbecue. Gary says the little restaurant attracts a lot of out-of-towners like me. Perhaps it's because stepping into yesterday's feels like exactly that, a trip back to 1957. Evansville's growing network of rails and its location on the river attracts businessmen from far and wide, drawn in by the prospect of shipping their products all over the country.
2 of the earliest name brand products are made in Evansville. The first is a cigar, a cheap cigar, 5 cents, made by Fendrick.
That's Herman Fendrick, a millionaire who called Southeast First Street home like so many other prominent families. Another early product, cake flour, famously known as Swan's Down, ground here at the Eigelhart Brothers Mill. For years, Evansville's also big in the business of transportation, making the vehicles that get people moving, starting with the buggy. Manufacturer William McCurdy, the same name behind the historic Riverfront Hotel, claimed the Hercules buggy factory could churn out a buggy every 5 minutes. Meanwhile, people are getting across town even faster than by buggy, thanks to the invention of the trolley.
After the Civil War, the first streetcar line comes in within a few years, and originally it just ran from Main Street down Water Street up to 8th Street, and the idea was it was to connect people getting off the steamboats to the railroad depot.
It also expanded the limits of the city itself. Now that people could cross town without much trouble, they began to move east, west, and north, further away from the river. It was the start of the sprawling city Evansville would become. On a beautiful day like today, I can't think of a better place to be than the observation deck of St. Joseph's Church. I mean, not only does it have one of the best views in town, but you can just feel the history etched on the walls where people have left their mark. Now, this is the heart and soul of Jasper. Coming up next week on My Hometown, does Tell City have some stories to tell? From the river to the rocker, we're getting a taste of all this Perry County town has to offer. For My Hometown, I'm Lindsay Merwin. Thanks for watching.
My Hometown was presented by Deaconess. You have a choice. Choose wisely. Choose Deaconess.
Sarah jokes that she works hard for somebody from New Harmony. What she means is that people take things a little slower around here and savor the chance to socialize with their neighbors.
When I was young, I loved the city, but my cultural needs now are different. You know, they're much more thoughtful and more about community. And this is a real community. I really, really love the community here. You can start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just call your friends and say, come on over, I'm cooking, and they actually can come. They don't have to look at their, you know, their calendars. They don't have to figure it out. We're all really relaxed here. And that means a lot. It means a lot after you've lived a long, hard urban life.
In Charlie's case, it's an escape from his life in Bloomington.
But you have a really crowded city, and you don't have the quality of life that I've got right here, right now. I mean, I want to be here and be able to get on my bike and bicycle down, you know, to help somebody out or visit with somebody. And
people take pride in their homes or cars. You know, it's a neat community, and the community itself is so supportive.
This couple waved me over, and they said, "Hey, Charlie, we just think you're just one of the best additions to this town that's come along in a long time." It just felt so warm and appealing to come from a couple who have lived here all their lives, you know, that here's an outsider that's meant a lot to New Harmony.
But perhaps there's something even more intangible than friendship that makes New Harmony special.
It's quiet, peaceful, somewhat contemplative and spiritual.
To go out in the evening and watch the changing of the lights on the Wabash as the sun goes down. Right now, it's magical.
Maybe that's the best word to describe a place that seems timeless.
Some people call New Harmony a thin place. A thin place is a place where heaven and earth are closer together.
Or maybe there's no word for it at all.
And I remember one day there was a gentleman that stopped me on the street and he asked me if I lived in New Harmony, and I said yes. And he said, "This is really a very interesting town." He said, "You can't touch it, you can't see it, but you can feel it."
What's still tougher to determine where New Harmony and its residents go from here.
I love southern Indiana. I love Indiana summers, most of it. I don't know what I'll do. I'll probably stay here for a while, yeah.
I'll never say never, but I really like it here. I can't think of any place I'd rather live other than the muggy summer weather. I'm just not going to move around for weather. I'm moving around for culture and friends. So I think I'll stay.
It's a very relaxed place to live, and I think that's what I like about it.
We can go to a lot of places, but it's always nice to come home here.
I'm glued. Can't get me away from here now, but